I never thought when I was thinking about this video that I would go from Disney Princess Karaoke to Hello Kitty, but here we are, and I might as well start off with the punchline. Do you want to write a novel? It doesn't have to be a novel. But if you're one of the millions of people out there who've said, I want to write a novel someday, but that someday has never come, maybe you just want to write a short story, or just get some ideas out of your head. Are you looking at the length of a novel and thinking, I can't do 40, 80, 120,000 words? And you just need a push in the right direction to get started, to write that first sentence. Well, I'm here to push you down that road. So write a novel with me this November. If you're finding this video after the 1st of November or even after November altogether, you can still get started, still do this in 30 days, and play along with my videos with a time lapse. It's never too late to start. And as Hello Kitty said, magic is believing in yourself. If you can do that, you can make anything happen. And as I'm about to tell you, I believe in you. And you can make a novel happen. How do I know that's possible? Well, we have to go back to the turn of the century, a little bit before. There's a guy named Chris Beatty up in Oakland, Berkeley, thereabouts here in California, who got together with a few of his friends and decided to write the first draft of a novel in 1 month. Within a couple of years, it had spread around the state, around the country, around the world to tens, hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands eventually of people who went through the same process, writing 50,000 words of a novel first draft between 12 o'clock a.m. on November 1st and 11:59 November 30th. And by the end of that, thousands upon thousands of those people could say, hey, I'm a novelist. And the TGIO, or Thank God It's Over parties up in San Francisco, were always wonderful to look forward to. There's nothing innately magical about November. I mean, it's mostly before the typical family holidays in the U.S., and many people have a 4-day weekend around Thanksgiving to catch up on their backlog of word count near the end of the month. But you could do it any month of the year. And some people do it every month of the year. I try to do something like that myself. But November is when it got started, and other than the name, that's why Novel November is in November. And I was one of those Novel November novelists in NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, from 2002 to 2009. And every year, in addition to getting together for write-ins and doing all sorts of other weird stuff as a writer during November, I would put at least 50,000 words down on the page on a word processor and finish with anywhere from 7 seconds to a day or two to spare. I was a South Bay NaNoWriMo writer, or Soba Nano as we were called, even when I lived in San Francisco. When I moved to San Francisco, I took over the San Francisco regional group, and during that time I also helped a friend of mine start the Peninsula writing group for NaNoWriMo. Then I moved back down here and got back involved with the South Bay more often. But the main thing of that month and of that project was getting those 50,000 words or more, you don't have to stop there, done by the end of the day on November 30th. Life got complicated for me around NaNoWriMo 2009, and I took a break, a long one, much longer than I expected. But around Christmas of 2023, I found some little scraps of stories I'd written along the way, a couple thousand words here and there, and I started writing every day. So from January 1st, or actually December 31st, 2023 until today, I've written every day. January 2024 was a 77,000 word month, so I knew I could do a 50,000 word story in 1 month. And in November 2024, I did it again. I got 62,000 words written that month, with over 52,000 on my November novel project. Now this year, NaNoWriMo as an organization has closed down. They've had some complications, some situations that you can Google or use your favorite AI chatbot to find out about. But there are still hundreds of thousands of writers who are going to write a 50,000 word novel in the month of November, and you could be one of them. And you know what? That 50,000 number is still really overwhelming for a lot of people. If you write one sentence, 8 to 12 words, you're in the top 10% of I want to be a novelist. I want to write a novel writers. Finish a full page, I'm going to guess you're in the top 5%. And if you can come up with an average of 1,667 words a day in November, that's going to take you a little bit over 50,000, easily top 1%, and you can call yourself a novelist. You may be thinking, I'm not ready to publish a novel. You don't have to be. This isn't National Novel Publishing Month. This isn't National Novel Find an Agent, Find a Book Contract, Become the next Stephen King or the next J.K. Rowling or whatever month. It's National Novel Writing Month. You don't even have to finish the story. This is a first draft. It's an opportunity to start a habit, and it's letting yourself be imperfect in the pursuit of a goal you've dreamed of, at least since the beginning of this video, but if you're still with me, probably for a bit longer. Sit down on the first day of your journey. That might be November 1st. It might be whenever you start and see this video. Think up and write down a scene or a character sketch or an event. Then lather, rinse, and repeat. There are a lot of books out there with writing prompts. There are websites that do sprints. There are local writing groups in coffee shops and restaurants and bars. I was almost going to say massage parlors, but Murray Head might come after me for that one. You could just sit outside a coffee shop or a restaurant and write what you see. Build stories around that. The goal is to get the words out of your head onto physical or virtual paper. And if 50,000 words is too much, that's okay. Set a lower goal. You could commit to writing 15 minutes every morning. That's how I got started in my latest journey, and it's still more than most people will do. Write one page in your word processor or your notebook. I've got this little guy here that I picked up in Mendocino, and it's just got a notepad in here that I can write on with a regular pen if I don't want to be on a computer screen. Even if you don't hit the official 50,000 word count, you'll get further than ever before and further than most people ever will. Do you have to buy special software to write a novel? Absolutely not. Can you? Maybe. You can write longhand on paper. It's a little bit harder to count the words that way, but you can do it. Some of the best novels ever written were written on pen and paper, pencil and paper, or even a manual typewriter. Although if you're going to type, I'd suggest getting an electric typewriter. You can use the Notes app on your phone or your tablet. You can use Google Docs, Microsoft Word, the word processor that comes with Apple's OS, Notepad, TextEdit, anything like that. There are platforms like AutoCrit and Reedsy Studio, both of which I use, that will let you write into a web-based platform from a computer, a tablet, a phone, and they have some extra features in there that you don't have in a notepad or a typewriter. And many of these, if not all of them, will even let you do dictation. So you can go out for a walk, open up the app, open up the program, and just talk your novel in there. That counts as writing. If the words get out of your head, that counts. And there are pretty easy ways to scan handwritten or typed copy into a word processor or your editing software. And I'll plan to come back to you in a couple of weeks with some more thoughts on that and how I've done that myself. But even if you don't have to buy software, there may be some sites that will help you along the way, especially for Novel November. I'll try to come back to you at least every weekend or Monday mornings with a little bit of inspiration, an update on my writing progress, and some tips for you. You can also do a quick web search to see if there are local writing groups in your area that you can join or visit. And even if you're an introvert, it may not be that bad. We used to have dozens of Sobananos and SF Nanos and Penanos who would take over a restaurant or a coffee shop, and you'd have 20, 30, 40 people sitting in a room silently writing. And that camaraderie, that community, could push people along even if you never said a word once you sat down and ordered your drink. My NaNoWriMo friend Marklyn Foster had a blog post earlier in October about a couple of options for events and companies that are helping to push along the Novel November movement, and I'll mention them here and I'll link to all of them down below. Pro Writing Aid, which is sort of an editing tool that plugs into your existing word processor, has a project called Novel November, which guides you through the month, and it's free. They've got some expert presentations coming up. They've got a tracker for your word count, and you can find out more about that on their site. AutoCrit, which is another product that I use, has Novel 90, which was a 90-day project starting in October. You can still get into it. You won't get the advantage necessarily of the October Preptober sort of thing, but the actual November novel writing is all of this month. And you can pick that up wherever you join in. And my personal favorite platform, Readsy, has a novel sprint for November. They're the ones who kind of pulled me back in last year, and I finished that 58,000 words on the Readsy platform. All of these have free tiers for their software, and some of them have some promotions if you register for the program, where you might get something free or a little bit of an extra bonus or a chance to win a prize. I've used Readsy for over a year and a half now, even before they had paid options. But remember, you don't need any of these platforms. You can use your typewriter, you can use your notebook, you can use your word processor that you use for everything else. You don't have to use any of these. If you do use a cloud platform like Readsy, I'll help you later in the month about how to back up your work and keep it available in case you lose your account or don't have access to your internet connection. The last thing, you want to back up your work no matter what. The last thing you want to do, trust me on this, is to be buying shady software from a random website in Russia because the only copy of your novel got damaged on a hard drive in the laptop that you put in checked luggage for a flight from Key West to Miami. You can guess how I know that. And thanks, HDD Regenerator. That's not a paid plug. I don't even know if they're still around. So where do we go from here? If you're going to write a novel with me, whether you're getting into it on November 1st, 2025, when I expect to have this video up, or sometime in 2050, or anywhere in between, drop a note in the comments. I think the YouTube creator code requires me to ask you to like and subscribe and enable notifications. I'd love it if you'd do that, but you don't have to. And check back for my future videos on Novel November so we can update each other on our progress and I can give you some more tips that may help you even beyond November. I was dreaming this month of posting a daily update, but it took me over a week to get around to actually putting this video together and out of my head and onto the iPhone. So I'm going to try to visit with you every weekend or Monday morning, at least by Monday midday, with a helpful tip or two and my own status updates. And that'll give you a chance to check in the comments. Let me know how many words you've gotten, your favorite line, the plot twist that you found. We'll talk about some things like some quick writing prompts, killing Cliff Brooks, a couple of other things like that on the weekly updates. And check back this weekend for my first Novel November update and my first tips. Good luck with your writing, no matter how far you get, whether it's 10 words or 100,000. You can do it, and I'm pulling for you. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.